Alright, let me check. Let's see, I got my hat on. Got my Avengers on. I got my raid. Alright. Yeah, I think I'm ready now. You do know Ant-Man is human, right? It's not gonna do the same thing to him as it would to actual ants. Look, I'm just trying to make sure I don't have no ant problem, alright? You never know, it might work. What up, guys? FallenMarvel here with a brand new movie review for you guys, and I gotta say, I can hardly contain my excitement right now. Today, I'll be reviewing Marvel's Ant-Man. So here we got another one of Marvel's obscure characters that a lot of people really aren't that familiar with, but as successful as the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been up to this point, they can pretty much put anybody on the big screen and it'll work.
You're right about that. We're probably gonna see Howard the Duck pretty soon.
I actually feel a little conflicted by that. So anyway, we got Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. Then we got Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. Now, if you are not quite familiar with that character, and if you're not so much a comic book fanboy, Hank Pym is the original Ant-Man, and actually in the comic book fandom, he's the original founding member of Marvel's The Avengers. Now, I do find it interesting that they're going in this direction with Hank Pym's character as opposed to just casting a younger actor to play Hank Pym to eventually become Ant-Man. But I really think with this type of character and the direction that they're going with having like a more aged Hank Pym as being the mentor for the new guy, Scott Lang, I think that's a really good approach as far as going into, wherever the MCU is going to take this character.
This continuity issue is starting to really bug me between the movies and the comic books.
Well, Marv, that's why they are called adaptations. Anytime a movie studio adapts something from some type of other media, it's going to be some slight differences to fit in that particular medium. So, hey, get over it.
Did nobody ask you for your history lesson, you smug son of a bitch?
Hey, language. So the movie opens up giving us a nice backdrop of Hank Pym's character conversing with some familiar faces that take place and set up for things happening in present day. And then after that, we get introduced to the lead character, Scott Lang. If you've seen the trailers, you know the guy is an ex-con, ex-burglar, all this other stuff. He has a daughter. You pretty much get the same, similar MO with most origin stories with, conflicted heroes.
Ah, the old hero with a troubled past scenario.
Well, hey, sometimes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What I think makes this difference is that the movie itself paints a picture as to why Hank Pym directly chooses this guy to don the Ant-Man outfit as opposed to him just doing it himself or just passing it on to his daughter Hope, played by Evangeline Lilly, who's obviously feeling a little jaded that she wasn't selected to get the suit. Like, the movie really does take its time with each of its lead characters. Like, you get some backstory with Hank Pym, then you get some with Scott Lang, and really fleshing out Hope's character. Like, you don't necessarily get a backdrop for her, but a lot of things get explained, and just a lot of things just really come to light, and you just see how their presence just evolves as the movie progresses. And I totally commend the movie for that. Now, I'm going to say right now that Michael Douglas put it down since the movie started, and he is arguably the best thing about this movie. But that's not taking anything away from the other people involved in the movie, because I think everybody was able to bring something to this movie and making it a really good one all the way around. So we do get a small introduction to Scott Lang's ragtag friends that he runs around with, and I have to say that they were pretty entertaining. More so Michael Pena's character, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, but his character Luis is probably like the best comic relief of the movie. He basically plays the role as that smart but dumb and overzealous friend, but obviously loyalty is his best quality. Eventually, we do get introduced to the main antagonist, Darren Cross, played by actor Corey Stoll. Now, one of the flaws most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies have had was not really fleshing out some of the antagonist characters outside of Loki. And he kind of suffers from that too, but the difference is that they really focus on why he does what he does. So he's a little bit more fleshed out than some of the Marvel villains that we've been accustomed to over the last, I want to say, 2 years. I was really glad that we were able to see really concrete motives of the antagonist and showing why he was so motivated to do what he did, even though he's a bad guy. It's nice to be able to see a more flushed out villain. He does still kind of take the role of like the typical bureaucratic bad guy, a la Obadiah Stane from the original Iron Man, but he still comes as a sympathetic type villain, even though he's doing very villainous things and just bat crazy at times. Like you kind of feel for him a little bit.
You know, at times have really changed when you actually feel for the villain.
That's probably the reason why folks like Loki so much. He was just that sympathetic villain who just can't seem to get a break no matter how hard he tries.
I'm really starting to sense a trend. Pretty soon they're gonna make a Hail Hydra movie.
Like, shh, you're not supposed to say that out loud.
Oh, my bad. Hail Hydra.
So as I said, there's a lot of fleshing out of the characters with Scott, Hank, and Hope, and I have to say that was definitely the shining light of this movie. Like, it doesn't even feel quick either. Like, you actually feel like there was some time that went by when Hank is showing Scott how the suit works and the whole controlling of the ants and all that. It's just, I was really impressed by that because it felt like, you know, this was a long journey for him to be Ant-Man. There were even times when they were like trying to break down the science of how like shrinking down and all this other stuff, and then you get a little bit more history from Hank. Like, I mean, I was really into it. I was really loving learning about these people's backstories.
Maybe they was doing that a little bit too much, man. They was getting me with the feels, man.
Oh,
the feels.
Now, one of the issues that I've had with this movie had to do with the fact that at times there were certain parts that kind of felt like it just didn't feel like it meshed well. And what I think played a part in that is the fact that the original director, Edgar Wright, left the production. And then you had Peyton Reed come along and take over the helm for Edgar, so his writing is in there too, along with Edgar Wright's. Now, it wasn't that big of a problem, but you can kind of tell like when certain tones is different from the other. Like primarily with, I would say, most of the humor. Like for me, I really did enjoy the humor. For me, I enjoy smart and witty humor. Like, we don't get that all the time. Sometimes, you know, you have movies that just go for cheap laughs or easy laughs and all that kind of stuff. I like when they do try. There were a few moments in there where it did fall a little flat, but it really was that big a deal. It was still very enjoyable for me.
That's just his way of saying that everybody ain't gonna like the humor.
Oh, that's a long debate I don't feel like getting into right now. Now, of course, this movie wouldn't be what it is without some Easter eggs or some mentioning of other Marvel properties. Hey, we get that in here too. And it ties in very nicely. And I'm sure anybody who's been enjoying the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point, you would get a kick out of it too, just as much as I did. So overall, I really did enjoy the movie. I do recommend anybody who is up for a fun movie, funny movie, all those things, go see it. I recommend it. Now, just so you're not surprised, yes, there is an end credit scene for the movie. So yes, stay your butt in the seats and watch the credits.
You know what? They're gonna have to start just putting these scenes in the movie, because when the credits start, I want to go home.
Well, Marv, it's just too bad that you're inside of my head, because you get automatically overruled on that account.
Only time will tell.
Hey, don't be playing around in there.
Just wait.
So, to give this movie a score, I would probably give it a solid 9 out of 10.
Wait, that's 0.1 higher than Avengers Age of Ultron. You liked it more than Avengers?
Well, in some ways, yeah. Like, compared to Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man seemed to be a little bit more of a solid movie. Now, I take nothing away from Age of Ultron, because, Marv, you already know I enjoyed that movie thoroughly. But I would have to say that Ant-Man did really well as a film, so that's why it got a slightly higher score.
So you did find something that you liked a little bit more than Avengers, huh?
Well, that's if and only if Avengers Age of Ultron gets an extended cut when it comes out on Blu-ray, because that will make all the difference.
Ah, nah, it makes sense.
So guys, if you've seen it already this weekend, I'd like to know what you thought about the movie. Go ahead, leave comments down below, all that stuff. Like, subscribe, all of those wonderful things. And remember to follow my advice until the next video, to go nerd, but nerd responsibly. I'm FallenMarvel, and I am out.